On the plane, Benny Alden, for the 10th time, looked through the brochure filled with pictures of the West Wind. They were really on their way to the cruise ship waiting for them in Miami. All the Aldens were going to sail to the Caribbean Sea. Benny tugged at his sister's sleeve, pointing to a picture of a pool.
"Look at this, Jesse. We can go swimming every day."
He flipped over the page.
"And we can play volleyball, too."
Jesse smiled. "Yes, and we can play badminton and basketball and all kinds of games, Benny. You'll see." Yawning, she stretched. They had awakened very early to travel from Greenfield, Massachusetts to Boston. There, they had caught a plane going to Miami, Florida. At last, they were ready to land. Jesse was sure her heart was beating just as fast as Benny's. But he had an excuse. He was only 6. Being 12, Jesse thought she should act more grown up. But today, she didn't care. She felt like jumping up and down. She glanced at her sister and brother across the aisle. But 10-year-old Violet and 14-year-old Henry had their eyes glued to the window. She knew they were excited too. The pilot's voice came over the intercom, interrupting her thoughts.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be landing at the Miami airport in 15 minutes. Please fasten your seatbelts."
Fascinated, Benny stared down at the tall white buildings lining the coast and the ships dotting the harbor.
"I wonder which ship is ours,"
he said. Grandfather, sitting in front of Benny, turned around. "The West Wind will be waiting for us at the wharf, Benny." Benny bounced up and down.
"I wish we were on board right now. This is going to be the best trip you've ever taken us on, Grandfather." "I think so, too,"
Violet added. James Alden chuckled. His grandchildren always appreciated whatever he did for them. It was a pleasure to take them places, and a cruise would be a most enjoyable vacation for him, too. Contentedly, Mr. Alden leaned back in his seat. How fortunate he was to have found his 4 grandchildren. To think they'd once hidden from him in an old boxcar, believing he was a mean old man. When they came to live with him, though, it wasn't long before they loved and trusted him. The plane dropped, and Benny squeezed his eyes shut, anticipating the cruise. Would there be a mystery on board the ship? It seemed that wherever they went, something mysterious happened. When the plane had landed and taxied to a stop, the Aldens walked down the steps. In the distance, a small bus with the words American Cruise Lines on it was waiting for them. After boarding the bus, Violet sat next to Jessie. Suddenly, her hand flew to her cheek.
"Oh, I think I forgot to pack my sneakers."
Jessie shook her head. "No, Violet. I saw you put them in your bag." Violet sighed with relief.
"Oh, good. I know I packed my best dress, shorts, pants, 2 bathing suits, and 4 tops."
"Well, that's plenty," Jessie replied.
"There's a laundry room on board, so we can do at least 1 washing."
The bus rumbled down to the docks and stopped with a jerk. "Here we are, folks," the driver said, opening the door. "All out for a cruise of a lifetime." Benny leaped up and hurried down the aisle.
"Thanks for the ride, mister."
Once outside, he stopped dead still, his mouth dropping open.
"The West Wind is beautiful."
He bent his head back to look up at the huge ship, his eyes scanning the gleaming white hull from stem to stern. A red smokestack loomed above the 3 main decks, and toward the bow the American flag fluttered smartly in the breeze. People on board leaned over the railing and waved. Enthusiastically, Benny waved back. Henry stood beside Benny, his hand resting lightly on his brother's shoulder. "Isn't it something, Benny? We're going to have a great time."
"You said it,"
Benny answered. A man in a white uniform smiled at them and motioned them to come aboard. Grandfather went first, followed by Jessie, Henry, Benny, and Violet. "Do you have a table reserved for dinner?" the man asked.